shining bright like the healing rays. 420 patients, we stand as one. Safe access for everyone. Oh, we rise up, lifted higher. Medicine fueled by love and fire. Together we blaze, together we laugh. Patients for safe access. That's the path.
The following production has been brought to you by the Hippie Broadcasting Network, WTHC Radio, and Stoner Records. Now, here's your host, Summer Parker.
Hey guys. Welcome back to our weekly Patients for Safe Access podcast. This week, we have the blessings of being on site, on location at Family Uncensored Mental Health Services, and they are partnered up with
CPKS and Okie Buds Network.
All right. And so these two ladies are Jenn Jones and Jules. I didn't catch your last name.
Danforth.
Okay. J and J,
yes.
as Jenn said. Which is funny because your initials are in J and J too. So
yes.
Yes,
it just seems to kind of align with every. It kind of is my sign. This is a good one.
Right. Well, I met you October 21st at the Oklahoma City Thunder Day event for SQ 837 signing event. Mm-hmm. And that day we got to talk just kind of briefly, you know what I mean? And you had shared with me, what you guys have going on here, what the mission is, what your values are, that type of thing. And it really struck me because, and I don't know if I told you this part when we met that day, but Charles and I had talked in the past about trying to, somewhere down the road, initiate something that incorporated cannabis and counseling to process rehab.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So instead of using pharmaceuticals for rehab and things like that, why can't we just use cannabis and counseling?
Exactly.
And so when you shared what this place is and what you guys try to do here, I was like, oh my gosh, that's like right on the same tracks and alignment. And one of the big words that caught me about you guys is research. Mm-hmm. Researching and coming up with the answers.
Yes.
And so tell me a little bit, let's see, like this facility was born out of a need. Yes. It was born out of a need because mental health struggles are so prevalent and not everyone has the access to mental health services at an affordable cost. Right. So I'll let you guys kind of break off and tell me a little bit about what you're doing here.
Okay. So I actually was working with my mother, who she is one of the majority partners for Family Uncensored Mental Health Services. And she's expressed she expressed the fact that she had such a hard time with internship and being able to get her foot in the door in a much needed area. And so I had encouraged her to reach out and find out what it took to get interns under her supervision. Yeah. Because they need hours in order to get in that field and be able to take their license. Mm-hmm. Well, we've got people out here who need treatment and can't necessarily afford it. Right? So why don't we kill two birds with one stone? Right. Why don't we help them get a step closer to being able to be licensed and provide that treatment, whether they leave the program and create their own practice or join an agency or whatever, it will still provide services that are needed. And that's kind of how that portion of the program became into effect.
Yeah, I was explaining to Charles that, for me, the relationship I guide in that is that whenever you go to like OSU Hospital in Tulsa, right? When the doctors come into the room, they always have a student doctor with them. You know what I mean? Hey, do you mind if?
Exactly.
Because they need to learn and they have to learn in field in person, right?
Yes.
And so with the therapy services that are offered here, by utilizing the ones they're still studying with their hours and things like that, it allows them to gain that in-field training, real life services, real life happenings, and you get the benefit of services.
Exactly. And you have to think, these aren't just people who are just coming in and just starting their studies. They're at this point, they're at master's level. So they have the qualifications to start providing their services, but they got to get in somewhere.
Right. Absolutely. You gotta get your foot in the door somewhere.
Exactly.
And
So
since your mom had the same challenges, she understands what that's like. And so to be able to offer that is a good thing, in my opinion.
see, and then where the follow-up came through is I already had a company with my husband and my son. I was dragging them around to events, and we were educating about why it was important to keep your piece clean and that kind of thing. And so I had already gotten involved on the cannabis scene and was trying to figure out how to, make this all fit together. And so I kept referring them to her for treatment, a lot of patients, because they would tell me that they would go for therapy. And one of the first things the therapist would say when they found out that they were medicating is, "Oh, that's your problem." Instead of, okay, let's find out why you're medicating.
Right.
What is the reason behind it? That's what is so important we can't gotta, there's usually an underlying mental health issue that is going on, is why that people are medicating. So instead of telling them what they're doing to try to fix the situation is wrong, let's find out what's causing the situation,
the root of it.
Exactly. And start there instead. And then if they are medicating, let's provide them with tools how to medicate, because they may be getting a decent result, but they could be getting a better one.
And when you're talking about medicating, you're talking about medicating with cannabis, right?
Yes.
So in teaching them about proper medicating with cannabis, are you educating them about like terpene profiles, things like that for the body, and the endocannabinoid system, all of that, right?
And to know that, and I told them, I said, they may accuse you of being an OMA officer when you walk in and ask for labs, but it's okay. I said they're required to have it. And if they don't, that's not the one for you.
They'll either accuse you of that or being part of Patients for Safe Access.
Yes, absolutely. So that, and trying to, educate them how to do that it's okay and it's fine, and that they are required to keep those. So
and how important is that? I mean, to me, it's so important as a patient to be able to access the COA on site. When I purchase a product, if I want to view that COA, I should be able to do that. And the law reads, the rules, regulations, however it is stated, says that, you have to provide a copy upon request.
Exactly.
So therefore, teach your bud tenders to go into Metric, to find the testing, to be able to hit the Control P button and enter.
Yes. Have it available.
If you can list the top 3 terpenes
Yes.
on the package,
That
since we can't
is-
smell
yes.
anything,
And
we can see the THC and the terpene number, but I want to know specific terpenes.
I would love
Absolutely.
to see
And I
that
love
in
to
packaging.
see that
Yes.
specific, because then that
Yes.
validates the actual strain.
Mhm.
And I just want to say
Right.
thanks for going out and doing independent testing on behalf of patients. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Like that's
One of the
important.
reasons we're highlighting you
Like,
in
yeah,
our
like,
next
that's super
E
important.
news is
because we're assisting patients in getting their cards and going to purchase. So they will ask me like, what is good, what is safe, and I can usually direct them in the right direction. But
absolutely.
it's good to have a
Yeah.
whole,
Yes. I know. I tell you what,
reference.
we buy a box of those Rillos, the hemp Rillos every week. And whenever you said you were submitting them for testing, I did this the whole waiting. I was like, please. I came back. I did a happy dance. I was like,
Anthony Smith, like all he consumed at once is those
That's
great
it.
Temporillos.
yes.
And I mean, I'm talking, that boy goes through probably 10 packs of sticks a week. You know what I mean? And so he was like, kind of like you, he was like on the edge, and it's really funny that you mentioned Temporillo, because Anthony's a brand ambassador.
Oh, is
them.
he? Okay.
And so they recently sent him some new merch, and that way we can submit that for testing and stuff.
Oh, cool.
It's
Yeah.
like their whole new Hemperillo line.
Nice.
I can't remember the celebrity names that are involved in it. Oh, Ice-T.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I do
Okay.
remember that because one of them's an iced tea strain or something like that. But yeah, anyways.
Okay.
I got
That's okay. That's okay. But yeah, no, I'm actually, if I'm smoking, I'm usually more of a bong girl. But yeah. But if I'm gonna roll a blunt, I need a quality one. I was trying to roll and they split, and oh, come on.
I've always been gun shy of bongs because, like, I've seen people, they'll take a big rip off of a bong, and next thing you know, they're off into the restroom because they're coughing. And
Yeah,
it
so-
makes me
I'm just like, I
cough
wanna
really
know
No,
bad.
that.
and so the thing is too, is you have to think too, like some of my people that come and ask me and they're like, I really want to, try a bong. And
Mhm.
especially if they've never done it before, I always tell them, start off with something small, like a water bubbler, or, one of those small things. Because it's not about how big of a rip you can get. Like, when you're medicating for a specific purpose, and if you want to just enjoy yourself, let's start small and find our sweet spot. That's what I call it.
Slow.
Yes. And so, if you end up with a big bong and that's what you want to use, and you've worked at that, but I wouldn't just, jump all in.
Yeah.
And go for it.
Even when we hang out with like our buddies at a Canna Lounge or something like that, and they're all, like, so they're taking their bong rips and stuff, and I'm just like, not me. But then I ended up taking and consuming from a gravity bong once in the last year, and I actually liked that.
Yes.
That I could hang with. I was like, okay, that I could do.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And so, but, and that's the other thing though, that we have the opportunity when we sit down with the patients, like smoking and vaping, that's considered an inhalation method. It's quick. It happens, 5 to 7 minutes. So it's good for, specific purposes. As far as, we educate as far as like the edibles, orals, the tinctures, the difference. There's so many things different out there that if you can't or you don't like smoking or vaping, there's no way for you to get enough from smoking or vaping by itself.
Right.
So usually we will give you guidance toward how to combine for your specific purpose.
All right.
So, and the way I equate it a lot of times is I tell people so if we were referring to like Tylenol and ibuprofen, the strains work similarly with that in as far as that concept. So you can take Tylenol for your achy body. However, ibuprofen is an anti-inflammatory. It would work better. So you'll get some relief from the Tylenol, but you're not going to get the relief you would from an ibuprofen or an naproxen.
Right.
So you got a headache, you reach for Tylenol. You don't necessarily need the anti-inflammatory. Right. So, and that works when you're thinking, so I tell people, so when you're thinking about the strains, you're like, well, I did this one and I got some relief, and that's great. But you may have been taking a Tylenol when you needed an ibuprofen or an naproxen. So that's kind of the mindset that I give the patients whenever we're talking is like, yeah, so, but let's check and see if you can get an even better outcome.
Right.
So
with what you're doing, with seeking and treating mental health, this was one of the things that was a high horse point for me in the last 2 years with finding contaminated failed products in our market, right? Is one of the first things I wanted to reach for was the fact that, you take someone who's struggling mentally, you know what I mean? Whether they're schizophrenic, they're bipolar, they're depressed, whatever it is, and you add a contaminated product to that they're consuming unbeknownst to them.
Most definitely can exacerbate those symptoms. Yes.
And that's why we started, what we were doing is because we wanted to. Right. It is 100%. It's being poisoned unbeknownst to us. So, if you're consuming a contaminated product. And so that's why it's vital for kind of like a check and balances system of the testing that is being done. And people will, bark at me all day and give me their opinions of how they think I should do it, right? Well, I should be sending it to 5 or 6 labs, and I should be doing this with it, and I should be doing that with it. But, funding is an issue,
right?
Which is why I'm fixing to bring that up for here, is because, organizations trying to do things to make it better for the consumers and better for someone with mental health consuming cannabis and things of that nature. It's a struggle. Like we get pushed against.
It is
from the community. It's odd.
It is. I think the stigma that goes with it. So now so in our case, we're dealing with 2 different stigmas. First, the mental health stigma, and then the cannabis stigma. So that is definitely a struggle in trying to get the benefits of the program across to certain closed-minded sections of the community. The key and really what I find the key is education. And it's just being able to give them the resources to, because I tell them, don't believe me just because I told you so.
Right.
No, don't believe anyone just because they told you so.
Don't take
well,
it
Jenn down at CPK said that, so that makes it true. No, and just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true, right? So look it up for yourself. Like, okay, so I was told this. Well, let me see. And I tell people, when you're looking at the research information, make sure you look to see who it was performed by. Look to see if there was parameters set on those on that research. So because if they're trying, like especially certain people, if they're trying to get a certain result, they're going to put parameters and restrictions on those. Like instead of using the actual cannabis plant for the research, they've used a synthetic that is supposed to, be close to what they're researching and is not going to produce the same results.
Right.
So it's very important to look at who's doing that, what the parameters are. If it was a double-blind study, and just kind of all of that, and then take that information into account and say, okay, so were they trying to get a controlled outcome, or was this a non-biased study to get the actual results?
Right. Organizations like yours and others like Cancer Playbook and things like that, you guys, when you are putting forth the effort to do research studies in what you're doing, right? That's not anything you can currently get grants or funding for.
No, it's not.
And that's something that legalization would really benefit the cannabis community, the patient community.
Absolutely.
And the ability to even have research. And we've got to fight for that for sure. Because
Absolutely.
what you guys are doing in all of these organizations, is crucial. And when it does get to that point where we can get that grants and stuff for
that's going to
funding,
be amazing.
you guys are already going to be ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? Like you guys are probably already going to have it typed out, filled in, and just got to hit send.
That is the idea. So she can tell you my motto. I always say is we're going to be ready so we don't have to get ready.
Absolutely.
That is it. It is about just acknowledging the possible outcomes of the situation and having a plan for all of them. And develop them as you go. Yes, be solution minded instead of and the other thing I tell people a lot is it's not a dead end. It's a roadblock or a detour. We've got a better path. It just means we need to go find our better path.
Right.
So,
well, speaking of a better path, we're going to take a short break. We're going to take, and our song, let me grab my thing here real quick, is by MSJR. The song name is Burnin', and we're going to talk about the different therapy services offered here and much more when we return from our break.
Take it back to 1914. The world is in a tense state, similar to what is happening. And all you hear are bombs being dropped. All of the lives, genocide on the rise. Now take a look at the world, tell me what's really happening. 1939, world power being displaced. People with agendas telling others what's the right race, causing devastation, every nation in a tight chase, just to find a weapon that could end it in a burning, burning, burning. There's a fire burning. Burning, burning, burning. There's a fire burning.
Are you searching for affordable products and great rosin? Well, look no further. Whether you're keeping it simple or going all out, we've got you covered. Sunny's for everyday deals, and Hash RX for that premium fire. Sunny's keeps your stash affordable, giving you value every single day. When you want the best, Hash RX. Oklahoma's premium live rosin. No solvents, no shortcuts. Affordable or premium, the choice is yours. Find us at Oklahoma dispensaries.
All right, making sure my mic ain't muted because I am notorious for doing that when I come back from the break. It's because usually I've had some of that damn Hash RX, man. Like, let's just be real, guys. Like, that stuff is real good. So shout out, guys. So, all right, guys, we are back, and I wanted to, bring us back in to what services are offered here. So I was reading through the paperwork that you had sent me, and I saw that there is group therapy, individual therapy, family therapy, couples therapy, all of these different programs.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about, like, did I miss anything? Is there more stuff? I mean,
So no, it's yeah. I mean, that's pretty much
you got it.
yeah.
yeah. All different type. The current support therapy that we have right now is gauged toward supplying kids with coping skills and that are struggling maybe with regulating their emotions. And so just get them together. There's also an autism support group, and for both adult family members and the children. So the children will go into one group, and the parents will go into.
And that's done here on site too. So
yes.
is that expanded in past this room or past this office
So,
set, or is that
No, and it's all here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all here.
Excuse me.
We do have online services, so telehealth services available too for people who can't make it here
Okay.
to the building, and those are of course just available by appointment.
Yeah.
And so
Does insurance companies cover any of these services?
so yes.
Okay.
If they have and that's one of the things that so like if you have insurance and what is keeping you from coming or having therapy is that you're worried about being able to come up with a copay. So we have you apply for the FUMHS for
Right.
better mental health program, and then we will file your insurance and take whatever the insurance pays and write off the rest, so that it doesn't bar them from if
Getting
if they need
right.
services, let's get them services.
Yes.
It's like I was talking to you earlier about our vets. A lot of them can be and are approved for services through the VA, but it takes so long for them to get in, and they need something right then. So, and that's why, speaking with, I had told you, Rob and James, with the Project 22, the dispensaries that are involved with our program will also be involved with the Project 22. So vets can come pick up their stuff on the 22nd of each month, and have the mental health services available if they need them. And and then if they get their services approved through the VA and that's what they want to do, then we'll help them to transition.
People that have never been in a military family or have any military history at all have no idea the struggles to get access to services with the VA.
Absolutely.
They think, oh, well, you can go to the VA.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
it's
you
not.
can
It's not that.
left toe.
Yeah,
You know?
my grandfather.
It's not
Yeah,
good.
my grandfather. He was military, and my uncle. I Mondays she covers so that I can go help him and take care of him. He's career military too. So I get it. It's the same thing. We're not.
We have a mutual friend in common, and I won't name names on here, just to protect that person's privacy. But what you're describing fits to a T what this individual had shared with me, which was that this person was having a severe mental health episode, like to the brink of the max you can think of having a problem. And they went to the VA doctor and said, hey, I want to reinitiate services for mental health. I want to be, inpatient type of a thing. They were literally told that they were going to have to wait months.
Yes.
And the reason that they were going to have to wait months is because they had chosen to, and probably due to a mental health struggle, chosen to end their services at the time. Thought that they had had it under control. And controlled. And then when they realized they didn't, and they tried to go back and they tried to reinitiate, to know that it was going to be months in advance. I don't understand that.
You plan for your mental health illness.
Right.
You're like
90 days out.
In 90 days, I'm going to need services. It doesn't work like that now.
No,
and that's why we are doing what we're doing, is to try to give another option. Go ahead and see if you can get those services. And like I said, if they become available, then and you want to transition, then by all means we'll support that and help you. But if you need something prior to being able to get in, call us. And of course, like we discussed, it's based on availability, and we try to get them in pretty fast.
And one of the other cool things that I realized in your program is, that like how we were talking about insurance. So if insurance covers a majority of a payment, right? Then if you're able to, say, example, afford the full payment, so you cover the copay, right, as well, then all those people that are able to pay full services
are paying it forward
in a reduced rate or a free service down the road for someone else.
Exactly.
And that was cool to me.
That's what it is. Because there's so many of the government programs that are failing us. So we as a community,
didn't we just see that?
Yes. Yes. So we as a community, we just got to get back to that old neighbor helping neighbor, and paying it forward. Because that's the only way I see us surviving.
I miss the system of bartering.
Yes.
I miss when you could barter for goods and services.
Absolutely.
Because if I could feed you and you could feed me, you know what I mean? We could feed each other.
Yes.
And that was okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
So this neighbors helping neighbors thing is a really good point too.
Yes. Back when you could go, knock on the door and you knew Miss Baker who was next door and she would let you borrow a cup of sugar,
People are afraid to go to their neighbor and ask for a cup of
anything.
sugar.
Right. And we gotta change that.
Yes, we do.
We've got to be the change.
I'd rather be in the 1960s and 70s in that era.
When it comes to that, yes. And that's the thing. It's getting back to that. Remembering that we're not all, we don't have to be this way. It's a choice. So kindness is free. We got to sprinkle that everywhere.
Take it back and remember how to human. Because this is the biggest part about mental health struggles. I, on an average day, and you ladies as well, we all look like your normal, average, everyday girl walking down the street. But what we're each struggling with on any given day could be something mild, and it could be something major. And, I have this hoodie that I bought that on the front of it says, "You are enough." And then on the back of it, it's the dear friend message, you are enough.
Yes.
And to me, that's my little bitty bit of trying to help somebody brighten their day that needed it, to remember. And I get stopped at least once every time I wear a hoodie out by somebody going, "Hey, I really like your hoodie," And that's, I hope it, helps their day. I really do, and that's where we have to strip it all back. We got to take things back. We got to be kind to each other. You got to love your neighbors. You may not want to love your ex-husband, but love your neighbors. Right.
I'm not asking you to agree with anybody. I don't have to have the same opinion. We can be different political parties, moral values. It's just about remembering that we're all human and
being
that
kind.
And that's it. That's it.
It feels good.
So how do you see the and I know we can't say there's a medical benefit, per se, but do you see a large percentage of your patients that are able to combine counseling with cannabis that see a more of a
beneficial. Yes. And something to make clear is that cannabis treatment or medical marijuana treatment is not, it's not required. It is an option. Is part of the program. So they can choose to participate, or they can say, and so and that's okay. It's having, knowing that you can have that available, and that I mean, like with me, like I was telling you, I used to be 360 pounds, and I was bedridden. I could go from the bed to the bedside body, with the help of my aide or my husband. So, you know, a lot of that had mental health issues going on, and so not having the tools or anyone to say, hey, this is what you should try. This is what you need to do. I mean, I did go into my DO at the time and told him, and he had been our family doctor, so he knew I wasn't playing, you know, and I told him, I said, hey, I'm going to start getting off all this stuff, and I'm going to start with, you know, CBD. And that's where I started. And I said, so you can help me, or I'm going to do it myself. And I know navigating those waters it was awful. Trying to, I mean, I was a good guinea pig. So if we can have doctors, therapists, clinicians help educate and provide those tools so that they can have a more successful outcome, that's the goal. Just having somebody to hold their hand and say, this is hard. We know this is hard, and we understand that, but you're not in this by yourself.
Right. You know,
so, right. I mean, we'll save that for later. Foam bats required for our fight club.
I like that. I want to be a part of that fight club. There's some aggression in that.
So yes, that's foam bats required for those. We can't have physical body harm. That's the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish. So, but no, but in all seriousness, that it is, we do have a unique approach. We are not institutionalized, tailored as far as treatment. We are more of a non-traditional,
more holistic kind of approach too.
Right. So, and we understand that everybody's different and everybody's bodies are different. And so, you know, cannabis is medicine, and it affects each person differently.
It does.
So, what works for one doesn't necessarily work for another. And it's just about what's finding best for that patient.
No, that's awesome. I think that's cool. Charlie and I, you know, we both we have our nose differently. You know, strain, and I talk about it often on here. People try to hear the story, but anyways, it's funny to me. But I call GMO GMO. You know, because as soon as you wafted GMO under my nose, I'm like,
that's my nose hairs.
Stuff ever. It's polluted, you know. Give me some Blue Dream up under that nose, and 13, Skywalker OG, you know, those couple ones. And I'm
they call you, yes. They speak to you.
Yeah.
You got to trust that too.
But my body's telling me what terpene I'm needing in my CS.
Which is also why what we were just discussing earlier, that she brought up because we can't do the smell thing. And that is definitely, if your nose likes it, that's your body saying yes. And since we can't do that, you had what you said.
List the top terpenes on your packaging.
On your packaging, that would be
the specific ones, and then have something in your store so that people know what ailment to treat with which terpene or which combination of cannabinoids like CBD, CBG, which are often for anti-inflammatory. And you don't even need that much THC because everybody's out there trying to find 30%, 35%. I'm like, I not ancient THC that had 3% terps, and they were listed there. And I was like, yes, I need the cinnamon, I need the wood, I need the fuel, I need the pine. That's what I need.
Yeah, and it's not a requirement on our packaging in the state of Oklahoma, and I'm sure
but it helps a medicinal patient that is really looking for that specific I mean,
what they need for their treatment. And you know, and I do tell
get educated.
yeah.
Really get educated.
And that's something else that we plan on incorporating with dispensaries that participate with us if they want, because we do have a certified clinician trainer. Her name is Lori, who is participating with us.
Is that the girl I met with you that
Yes,
day? Okay,
yes,
okay,
it is.
okay.
And some other people that we're working with, so that we will be able to offer that education. And I tell our patients when you go in, it's okay if the bartender doesn't know the answer, as long as they're willing to help you find the answer. It's okay to say, I don't know, as long as they go on the journey with you to find what you need.
And something most bartenders have no clue about whatsoever is if somebody has food allergies.
Right.
Terpenes.
That's a big one. So
Yes.
that's a big one because I do have food allergies, and
too.
it matches this, you know, the strains. If it has that name of the fruit in there, odds are it's got the same terps that the fruit I'm allergic to has in it. And I got to stay away from that because I will break out all in hives.
Like if it's in those top 3 terpenes, like what she's talking about, usually there will be some type of reaction from it.
And so it's important for our bartenders and people to know those things.
So he says, what will help and what hurts? Because I can't handle a lot of caryophyllene. Any high terpene that you recommend for pain relief?
So
Humulene
for specifically, yes. But it's also, so it's hard without knowing specifically what type of pain you're treating. If there's a underlying condition that's causing that pain, you know, because if you're getting pain from cancer, that needs to be treated on a whole different level than just, you know, chronic pain from an ailment that you've got going on. So and giving you a general idea, if it's just, you know, you're trying to specifically just treat some chronic pain that you've got going on, some aches and pains, then yes, those are the good ones.
But I do find that most of the strains out there have got that beta caryophyllene in it.
Right.
And that's the pepper. So a lot of people have sensitivities to that. So you want the fruitier, you know,
limonene,
myrcene, linalool.
The pinene and the caryophyllene tend to make me sneeze for some reason, especially if caryophyllene is real high.
Just ask them if it's got CBG and the CBD in it. Like if it has that and the combination of terpenes.
And the other thing to note with CBD, a lot of people say CBD doesn't work for them. My question is always, first question whenever someone says CBD doesn't work for them is, how are you using it? Because a lot of people don't realize with CBD, that's something you have to take on a daily basis. It has to be in your system, to work. Where THC, you know, that happens within, you know, that's happens right then. The CBD needs to build up in your system and be taken daily.
So I did not know that.
Yes, and it also helps, you know, the effects of the THC. So you may, once it's built up in your system, and you know you're starting to feel, because there's a lot of things.
Entourage effect.
Yes.
Pulls it together.
And so that way you don't need as much to achieve the medicated state with the THC.
Right.
So to get, and the other thing that we get a lot of questions about is the tolerance break thing. And well, I found something that works and now it doesn't work. And so what do I do? And in those cases, you know, they're like, people keep telling me to take a tolerance break. Well, you wouldn't just be like, my anxiety pill isn't working anymore, so I'm just going to stop taking it. So we would never encourage that. So a lot of times, and what the latest research is actually showing is that if they reduce it by half, for 2 weeks, because it takes 2 weeks for your body to regulate, approximately.
Just like you would any.
And then go back to that dose that you were using previously that was working, your sweet spot. That'll work. Again, you know, this is just the suggestions.
So you guys are partnered up with several things. We were talking a little bit about that while we were on break, about Okie Buds and Okie Buds Networking. Do you want to tell us a little bit about those organizations as well?
Yeah.
Well, I made it a point to build relationships. Early on, I was doing sales and doing the advocates for patients that needed help with their medical cards. And I really loved meeting business owners, and I wanted to find out what their intention was when they opened their business and who they were working with. And then I really wanted, I mean, I just dove in. It's 2020. They made everybody stay home. I'm like, oh my God, there's a mental health crisis. Everybody's coming home. They're making everybody wear masks. It's insane. So I dove in there and I was like, I want to make sure that the medicine's good and it's tested and that I know where all the good stuff is. And I can help patients find it too, you know. And then I just discovered so much, and I've learned so much more about the medicine. So I was driving around for other people. I'm like, well, I'm building my own network, and eventually, you know, I'll grow it to whatever it needs to be. And in the present, it's pleasant. Yes. You know, we're helping patients.
Yes. And we have
is pleasant.
Yes, absolutely. And we had met. So Christian Stark had introduced us, and we had met, and we didn't team up then. We talked, and then
I think the patients just kept calling us.
Yes.
And the stores kept calling me.
And so it just didn't connect at that time. And then I started helping with the 837 and met with Hannah and
from Farside.
Yes. And so we got to talking, and she's telling me about her great friend Jules and what she was doing and everything. And I was like, I think I know her. I think I know who you're talking about. And so she was like, well, you guys really should get together. You guys should talk. And so I think we ended up talking, and then later and we ended up meeting. And so once we started hashing out what was going on, we were like, this is it. This is what the alignment was waiting for. We've sent CPK, Uncensored Family Medicine, is what I have going with. And like I said previously, I was dragging my husband and my son to do events and stuff, and we started out cleaning the bongs and stuff with Crystal Clean, Tony and them. So and then from there just kind of kept. And I kept telling everyone, I was like, you're going to see us. This is my plan. And so it's slowly coming to fruition. And meeting the right people. John, Oklahoma Craft Cannabis, there now. He has agreed to sponsor the medicine side with so much per harvest to have available for the patients. And we've got Rodney Bowers. A lot of people in the community are familiar with him, as he helps with the RSO and specifically tailored to Cannapain and Cannachemo and diabetes. He will be supervising the process for that medicine. So,
and how many locations are online currently, dispensary wise, that are servicing this medical need?
So right now we're still in talks. We've got 2 that are like fully in. We've got, depending on what she decides after the meeting, will let us know about the next one. So it'll be 1 to 3 more. And then and I don't like to, until I've been told for certain. I don't want to, because I don't want to put them on the spot. If they can do it and they can participate and they can help, we greatly appreciate it. If they can't, we also understand we got to keep it moving and find the ones that can help these patients. So so right now currently it's just 2 that are with prospects. Again, we're just at the 23rd is the first signups for the program. So and that's going to be at Bowser's Cannabis. And so anybody that wants to come out, they're going to be doing a feed the community thing. So we know it's been super hard lately, so we're going to make sure that people have some Thanksgiving dinner. I think they're doing ribs and stuff like that. So you can come out and we can get you signed up and talk more about the program.
And this would be a good time to bring up the call to sponsors.
Absolutely.
Call for sponsors and call for partners. If this is a program that you see yourself, benefiting from, or you see someone you love benefiting from, make sure to reach out to these ladies. Is there a website specifically, or do you want to just like give an email address or something like that?
So they can email Jenn at familyuncensoredmhs.com, or they can call us 405-822-3802, or you can text. And the other thing that too, you don't have to be a business. If you're a treatment advocate, if you're just a person who's wanting to help and get involved, and you've got a particular set of skills.
Yep.
Yeah, we need those skilled individuals out there that
Absolutely.
can advocate and
and
be an active member in their community, because I can't keep driving all over the whole state.
Yeah,
I want to be Goku, but I
Right.
just
because we've got
I'm
to the
needed
point.
here.
Yeah, we've got to the point where we've got a bunch of advocates out in the field.
Mhm.
And there's so much going on that we need to be here so that we can make sure the
Facilitate
flow.
everything.
Yes, the flow
I
is
understand that.
going.
I do.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So doesn't mean that we won't still pop up. If the place is just
Yeah.
to, say hello and make sure
Right.
everything's good. But
Be a part of it. Yeah, for sure. Are there any socials that they should be following to follow you guys on?
we're definitely on the Cannabis Club group and on Facebook, and then I've got Okie Buds Network group. I don't post a lot on social media because I've built a network word of mouth, because it's mostly
Right,
elderly
getting out.
people, and they're telling their sewing circle, or they're telling their church friends,
Their bingo card.
or the
Oh,
fishing
yes.
buddies, or the shop
Right.
buddies,
Yes.
or they work at the
Now you
trucking.
can
Yeah.
Okie Buds Network, right?
Yeah, I got okiebudsnetwork.com or okiebuds.com with a Z. That's where you can go, and you can initially just fill out a basic form, and I'll reach out to you based on information.
Right.
And that's for if you need help getting a medical card. If you are
But you
wanting,
can also just call me.
if you're wanting mental
email.
health treatment, just give us a
Right.
call.
Same phone.
Yeah,
number
just-
you
Yes,
listed.
yes, that 405-822-3802 is the administration number.
I
You
just
just give
help
us a
with the
call.
phones and help with the patients, and
Yeah.
just help you, because I see you're doing amazing things, and I just
Right.
want to congratulate you for staying in your lane, because it's very hard with so many
It is.
shiny
So
things going on,
avenues.
and it's always
Mhm.
Well,
I mean,
and that's where she's coming in handy though, because I do a squirrel butterfly,
I'm-
and then she's like, "Hey, wait, you butterflied from your squirrel. You got to get back to the paperwork."
Back in your cocoon butterfly.
Yes.
no, we need as many eyes
So, absolutely.
in here as possible.
And-
It's good.
There's enough room at the table for everybody.
So let's actually, that touches base. We was going to start with it, but I think we're going to kind of wind down
Yes.
with it. Okay. In the state of Oklahoma, recently they've been putting out a whole bunch of stuff about
Yes.
Oklahoma's medical cannabis market, and one of the things that they're trying to hinder right now is patients utilizing a third
Third
party
party.
person
Yes.
to assist them with the process of applying for either their new card or their renewal card or caregiver
Right.
license.
Right.
And we were discussing this earlier, and the reason why this is such a problem is because, and Pops has been on my podcast, so I know he won't mind us talking about this. But Pops suffers from essential tremors. And by the way, he was on there earlier. So hey, Pops, if you're still there.
Hey, Pops.
We've met.
Right?
Yes.
And if you go back and you watch the videos about him and you've met him in person, you see that, he tremors and he shakes and
Right.
things like that quite frequently and quite
Right.
severely.
And that's not a limited case. I
No.
mean,
And so, I mean,
there's a lot
it's
of
not a
people
feasible
with
thing
issues.
for him to sit down at a computer and, go through that whole process. So to utilize a third party person is, it's necessary pretty much, in my opinion, for anybody over 65, because I'm 47 and I already feel computer illiterate. Whenever 20 years ago, I was the smart one teaching everybody how to do it.
Right
You
now,
know what
and
I
now,
mean?
now my
And I'm
11-year-old
like,
grandson is like, "Here, Gaga," and I'm like,
right. You're like, how did you do that? How did you do that?
like, well, how did you change
Right.
on my button screen? That's
And so-
amazing.
They're trying to make it where that can't happen, but you say with the HIPAA protections and things like that.
So
it's
yeah, now there is a specific for treatment advocates of mental health or
Mhm.
clinic that fall under. And I understand where they're trying to go with it, and that they're trying to make OMA itself is trying to make it a more medical process, and they're wanting to make sure that the patient's information is protected.
Well, we want that. We want the patient's information protected too.
I get that may be the advocate or the avenue that they're saying that they're trying to do it. Currently, Oklahoma law, the statute 43A1 through 109.1, it specifically talks about treatment advocates. And from my understanding, what I'm being told is that if you are a clinic or a mental health facility, you are allowed to assist the patients with their uploads. Okay. Outside third parties, just so like if Julie was operating independently by herself, she would be limited to being able to assist only 5 patients because she has to be a caregiver for them if she's applying for them. And in Oklahoma, you can only be a caregiver for up to 5 patients. And then that means you can't have a caregiver either. Right. So that really restricts the hands of these people who are out here that have been doing well and helping people. And so we are working on a network that will help, not just for this purpose, but a lot of these advocates out here on their own, no backup. So if we the ones that are already with us, they have been doing the same process. And so now this will give a way for us to be able to rely on each other. So because there is emergencies that happen, there is things that come up, and having someone on call isn't necessarily what ends up happening, because by the time you need them, then there's something else. So if we have a network established that you can rely on others, then the patients don't have to suffer either if something was to happen. So I am not advising them to do either or. As far as the advocates that are out there helping, I think they're all the ones that are doing their job and really trying to help the patients. I commend them. Like, that's what we need. There, like you said, there's so many patients out there. For one, they don't even know what to do after. And then trying to explain it, and because some of ours still have flip phones,
right?
You know,
or they don't believe in it.
Yeah, and so
a lot of them are elderly people. They're like, "Can you please help me with my email?"
So there
really
is definitely a need. By saying that they can't have someone help them, that restricts the access to their medicine. So we're not going to stop. I mean, that's what it amounts to. And if we can help establish a network so that other people can continue helping,
right?
Then we're for that too.
LMFT had recently created a new position called patient services. And are you familiar with what they were trying to do over there with that one yet?
No,
I'm not either. But the lady they had hired for patient services had a very short-lived tenure with the LMA. And I met her, well, I didn't actually meet her in person, but I saw her at the last Executive Advisory Council meeting. And let's just say that by the next one, which is just at the end of this week, she's already not employed there. And apparently the values of what she was trying to achieve for patient and consumer safety weren't aligning to the same train tracks at the same time. And so we're actually going to be bringing her on as a special edition.
Good. Yeah.
Midweek this week, because we're going to talk about what was it she wanted to achieve for the patients and why that wasn't able to happen.
Well, I've heard similar stories. Yeah, I definitely have, maybe not involving specifically that area that you're speaking of, but I've heard similar stories about people who've been trying to make an improvement and were shut down. So, and again, that's where I go back to, okay, well, if they're going to drop the ball, let's get back to helping each other and making sure that
and band together.
Absolutely. Make sure that patients still have access, and that anyone who is helping is protected as much as possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Lace, is there anything else that you want to add that we've not mentioned or covered so far about the company? Montgomery Clinic?
Oh, well, that we're located in Norman. So if you need to come and see us in person, we're at 2600 Van Buren
Mm-hmm.
on
Street.
the southeast side or southwest side of Norman, over by Atwoods.
Yeah, you can Google this and we'll come up to for family and censored mental health services and CPKS and censored family medicine. We're both in the same office. So
Big, huge white building.
Yes.
Architecturally beautiful.
Yes.
Can't miss it.
Can't
It's
miss it,
Riverside
so.
on the side.
And so if you're an advocate, if you're a patient, if you're some way involved in the industry, if you're wanting to you need help,
Reach out.
I say
Yeah,
need
we
help
want
or want
advocates.
to sponsor,
Mhm.
please reach out. We're still looking to grow the program.
Absolutely. It's just, it sounds like it's just now all coming together.
It
It's
is,
to
yes.
take flight. And what I love about it is that you guys did something different than OMA. You guys are building your program while it's still on the ground before it takes flight. So that when the plane takes off,
That is the idea, is to make
Right,
sure all the
right.
nuts
Everything
and
needs
bolts
to be
are in there.
solid.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
Jeez,
yes.
I'm gonna take a lesson.
Yes, absolutely. That is the idea. That's what, again, that goes back to stay ready so you don't have to get
Yes.
ready.
It's slow and steady.
I would almost
Like,
bet that
you
both
know what
of
I
you were
mean?
Girl Scouts too.
No.
No? Were
I
you?
was, yes.
See? That's a Girl Scout motto. Leave it better than you found it. And
Uh-huh.
always be prepared.
Yes, yes,
So,
absolutely.
let's see. Okay, the Hippie Broadcasting Network says, "Great show, ladies." Hippie, you want to bring up other comments and questions real quick before we log out, and we'll make sure we get all of them answered or responded to here. So Pop says Jen has helped a lot. Ooh, it's spooky.
Whoops, sorry, you guys.
Pop says that Jen has helped a lot. Steve, thank you so much. That's the one we were talking about that we had on the show a while back. And
Yes,
yeah.
that is my
Much
buddy
love.
right there. I appreciate your support, Pops. I really do. Thank you so much for everything and always coming out to see us whenever we show up.
I know,
Anywhere,
right?
he's there.
He drives to come hang out. I absolutely
Yes.
love it. I got to hang out with him at Bluegrass on Bell. So somebody else said hello from Louisiana, I think. And then there it is. Hello from St. Louis. That's what it was.
Oh.
Okay, from Brittany. Hey. And Aunt Katrina says, "I love you, Summer. Got paperwork to do while it's quiet."
You better hurry.
Quiet.
Yes, you better hurry. That doesn't last long.
Let's see. I was stating a fact about you guys. We're saying, sorry, I didn't come across you. I know what you were talking about there. Yeah.
Oh.
we were talking about it earlier. Well, guys, I think that is about it. So we're going to end this episode at this point. Next week, our guest is going to be Daniel Lewis, and he is going to be
Cowboy
talking
Cup.
about
Yes.
the Cowboy Cup.
I did. Speaking of, I did one thing. I did want to say thank you to Herbage because they are also doing a full page.
Yes.
So to try to help
Ah.
get some awareness out there. So
Okay,
thank you
so
very much,
double
James.
Shout out, because we'll both be in the Cowboy Cup episode.
Woohoo! Yes. See, great stuff.
And that's funny because after Daniel Lewis, my next guest is James Bridges.
See, there you go. Yeah, he
It's all
did,
gonna roll right
and that's
together.
we done some stuff in the past, and I went to pick up packets from him, and he was like, "So what are you up to?" So
Oh,
Yeah,
but
I'm
y'all
going.
better
I'm
be.
going. At
I was
least
gonna say,
one
you better
day.
come see me at my booth.
It's-
We'll have
I haven't made it
full
there.
private
Yeah,
all
like
kinds of
I'm like,
stuff.
I have to look at the calendar. I can't give you an
It's in
answer without
December.
looking at the calendar.
Uh-huh,
I just know it's in December.
I think it's the 13th and 14th or 12th and 13th. I
Okay.
can't remember precise.
It's a Friday and
Yeah,
Saturday.
it's like right there though.
Okay, it's just like
So,
see, birthday celebration.
see. All right, guys. Much love, one love, and we will catch you guys later.
Summer Parker leading the way, shining bright like the healing rays. 420 patients, we stand as one. Safe access for everyone.